how Disney forces you to enjoy the magic. Have you ever noticed that something looks a little off with Cinderella's castle? That's because Disney uses forced perspective. Forced perspective is a technique that uses optical illusions to make an object, such as the castle, appear larger, smaller, further away, or closer than it actually is. Magic Kingdom's Cinderella's castle and Disneyland's Sleeping Beauty castle both use forced perspective. You can see here the bricks on the first level of the castle are regular size, and they will get smaller as you go towards the top of the castle. The windows also will get smaller. This makes the castle look farther away and taller than it really is. They do this as well on Main Street. Everything with multiple stories will have regular scale on the first floor, and then they will decrease in size as you go up. And they do get smaller and smaller. That's how they achieve that forced perspective. Basically, they use forced perspective to make adults feel small and make tiny humans feel tall. And there's no better example of this than the youth clubs on Disney cruise ships. That's right, the Imagineers are even on the cruise ships. And on the cruise ships, the perfect example is the youth club deck. You'll notice this even more once you're inside the clubs. If you look here, Thor is almost touching the ceiling. And that's because those ceilings are lower for the tiny humans to feel taller. Another way they use a little bit of forced perspective here is Thor. His shoes have risers in them to make him taller, and his helmet also lends to him appearing taller, especially with these lower ceilings. On the ship, they have an Andy's room in the Tiny Human Club that also has that forced perspective. On the cruise ships, the youth clubs are located on separate decks. The one that is for nursery and youths from 3 to 12 has a lower ceiling on that deck, so tiny humans feel more comfortable and like they are larger in those areas. One of my favorite examples of forced perspective is the Eiffel Tower at Epcot. You're not even allowed to go and see the base, and this is because it's actually a building. Epcot's version of the Eiffel Tower is 103 feet, which is 1/10 of the original Eiffel Tower. But the Epcot version looks a lot larger because of forced perspective. They actually also have a bird repellent to help with that illusion, because if you saw birds on there, it obviously would look quite a bit shorter and not as nice. Have you ever been waiting for the parade and found yourself abnormally hungry? Disney uses a technique called the smellitizer on Main Street, which pumps the smell of vanilla and popcorn, among others. And they pump that smell directly through the grates right into Main Street. And conveniently enough, their bakery and candy shop are both right there. And Disney is no stranger to smell warfare either. Everywhere, from the Soarin' ride to resorts to cruise ships, they have their own unique smell packs, which is even given birth to a company where you can buy remade versions of these scents. And for holidays, they really have some fun with a candy corn scent for Halloween and cookies and peppermints for Christmas, just to get you a little more in the mood for some fun snacks while you're there. They also have a couple of fun 4D shows that use the smellitizer as well. They just use it everywhere. I think they want you to take that home with you. We can even find use of both of these unique techniques in another flagship location you've probably been to and not even noticed. And that is Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean. They are purposely pumping scents at you. For example, you will notice a musty scent when you first get in there, and then you'll notice a gunpowder smell also when you get into those further scenes. And forced perspective is used on those buildings in the background. And we have an excellent example of forced perspective from Mr. Ken Hartley, who has a wonderful post over on Medium about this. Go ahead and check that out after you're done with this video, of course. As you can see here, he took a photo at the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction, and this looks like it's a 2-story building. The top level looks a little smaller than the bottom level to me, but not a big difference. So check this out on the second story. He is literally taller than the door. He couldn't even fit in the door there. So this is definitely a big decrease from the first story to the second story. This picture I really like because it shows both stories, but this time with him on the top, and it really does show how much shorter that second story is. It's amazing what they can do with forced perspective. Disney puts just as much effort into what they want you to see as they do into what they don't want you to see. Have you ever noticed that you don't ever see any cast members just kind of walking around? That all the trash is cleaned up? Have you ever noticed that you never see an out-of-place character? For example, you're never going to see a pirate in Future World. And you're also not going to see one in Toy Story Land. That's because Disney has secret underground tunnels. To cast members, these underground tunnels are known as utilidors. There is a no foam policy as well as instant termination policies for the utilidors. They are very serious about these. These secret underground tunnels were actually in the design from the inception of the project thanks to Walt. The one thing he hated about Disneyland was seeing out-of-place cast members, so the initial layer that was constructed was for these underground tunnels. Technically, these tunnels are the first floor, and the rest of the park is built on the second floor and up. Guests are not allowed, no photos, and the only way you can actually lay your eyes on it without becoming an official cast member is by paying $114 or more, depending upon the day, to take the Magic Kingdom's Keys to the Kingdom tour. This is a 5-hour tour. In that tour, they will take you to the utilidors. They use the utilidors under Magic Kingdom for everything. All the sewage goes through there, trash, most of the wiring, all crew and characters. They all use those utilidors. And just a side note, we did Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour. It had some really fun stuff in there. I highly suggest that one. I haven't done the Keys to the Kingdom yet, but that's another one that is on my list because it sounds a lot of fun. They have a cafeteria down there called Mouseketeria. And of course, being Disney, there's always music playing, like Wall-E from Tomorrowland. I've heard some fan theories that you might see a headless Mickey down there, but I think that's more theory than fact. And of course there's a head, just a human head instead of the Mickey head. And that's not the only way Disney hides things from you. At all of their properties and all of their parks, they utilize a couple of custom colors that Disney had developed. Go Away Green and Blending Blue. These were specifically so that your eye would kind of go past them, so that these colors wouldn't really register when you're looking at them. Go Away Green, it's kind of a grayish green mixture, and they put it up on all their construction walls. It's intended so that you kind of look past it. They even use it on the door at Club 33. And Club 33 is where I first noticed it. What's Club 33? That's Disney's secret club. Yes, that's right, they have a secret club. It was originally intended for Walt. Walt Disney wanted Club 33 as a special place that they could use for Disney corporate sponsors and other VIPs. They do keep it pretty secret how much it costs and how many members there are, etc. What I've heard ballpark is $33,000 to join, $15,000 a year, and there is a wait list. I would also guess that those numbers are probably too low for this secret club. That is definitely on my Disney to-do list. So anytime you're there, check that out. They have another color that they created, which is called Blending Blue. The intention with Blending Blue was that it matched the Florida sky. They actually had it updated a few times because it didn't perfectly match. And when you're looking at things in that blending blue, for example, the castle has a little bit on it, those structures will blend into the sky, which actually adds a little bit to the forced perspective as well. Just can make things look bigger than they are as it blends that way. One of my favorite ways that Disney immerses you in the magic are the horns on the cruise ships. They'll have horn battles sometimes. It's just so fun. It's definitely an enhancement to the cruise. I have one more favorite way that they immerse you in the magic. Walt Disney absolutely did not want mosquitoes at his parks. Walt met General Joe Potter at the 1964 World's Fair. They were talking and Walt told him how he did not want mosquitoes at the parks because, of course, that is not magical. So what they did was create a system of multiple avenues of keeping mosquitoes away. First of all, mosquitoes love standing water, so there is absolutely no standing water in Disney's parks. It is just always constantly moving water to keep those mosquitoes away. Even in the architecture, things are built so that rainwater will flow and not stand or pool up as a way to keep the mosquitoes away. They also use a garlic spray everywhere. Mosquitoes hate it, and it's not quite strong enough that people can smell it. Really ingenious, and I absolutely love that. The one that really strikes me the most, though, is the horses. They have these clip-clopping enhancements on their horseshoes because Main Street is supposed to be back when Walt was young. And of course, that would include horses, and that clip-clop sound really takes you there. So they enhance that sound, which just is a lot of fun, I think. It gets me happy, also nostalgic, like I'm one of those tiny humans running around. That's why I enjoy Disney so much, is because you get to play as was intended. The whole family gets to play together, and everybody gets to enjoy it. Whether you really love Disney or you're with people that really love Disney, it just brings out a lot of fun. So let us know in the comments below. Do you know any other ways Disney has forced you to enjoy the magic? Or what's your favorite way? Mine is definitely the ship horns. If you haven't seen it, go check out our last video, Everything I Hate About Disney Cruise. And if you've been here before, you know I love Disney Cruise, but regardless of how much you love Disney, anything can be made better. And there was definitely a few things that I did not like. So go check that out. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Ring that little bell. It'll let you know when we have any new videos. And we'll see you real soon with some more Disneys.